Alright, today I'm going to go over the rear passenger seat, the hitch, the LED lights, headlight kit, and then the cup holders. The rear passenger seats by a company called GTW. I really like them because they were actually a little bit cheaper than anything else on the market, but their construction seems to be better than some of the more expensive ones. It is a heavier seat. The whole thing weighs an extra 100 pounds that you're adding to the golf cart, but it's all steel. It's very rigid. The seats are very firm, really comfortable to ride on, and it's just been a good purchase. But something I really like about them is when it flips out, a lot of people complain about their seats breaking or not lasting a long time. So first off, they put on a plastic diamond plating, which is just resistant to scratches, and you're really dinging up the seat. But the part that usually breaks is the connection between the rigid back half and then the folding front half. And they've done a good job by not only making it all out of steel and using steel hardware, but if you notice, the pivot point here is further back than the end of the seat, and you have all this extra area to support the front fold out area, and that just allows this to have a very rigid frame, something that's not going to break or warp or bend in this area. You're still not putting a lot of weight on this. I think it says no more than 100 pounds, but I've stood on the back corner and to get up high on a shelf and to reach up there, and it's been solid. Another nice, needs a little oil on the screws. I think I tightened them a little tight. But another nice thing about them is when you buy this, or any other rear passenger seat, a company, let's just pick Mad Jacks because I believe they're one of the most common and the most well-known golf cart accessory producers out there. But this is a Mad Jacks hitch, and we're kind of transitioning to the hitch now, but this is a Mad Jacks hitch kit, but a GTW rear seat. GTW was kind enough to go ahead and put and pre-drill the holes in this front bar and then in the back bar here as well. There's two more bolts here, and the reason I say thank you for them doing that is they didn't go with a proprietary setup or their own proprietary attachments or upgrades. This bolt pattern, the 4 holes drilled out, are for a hitch or the grab bar that you would mount up for people to kind of hang on to in the back passenger seat, or both. They mount all from those both attachments from those 4 mounting holes, and GTW was nice enough to match them. And I don't know if that's an industry standard or if that's them trying to be competitive and knowing that you're probably going to want to do something with it instead of having to spend extra money for a proprietary attachment or just something wonky. It fits perfectly. And then as far as the Mad Jacks hitch goes, it's just a standard 2-inch hitch receiver. It comes with the receiver and the hardware, and then there's 2 metal or steel L iron L brackets that you use to mount it up there, and then it comes with its own 2-inch hitch for it and the pin. Now, this is not a hitch that you would want to put on the back of your truck or really tow anything with. It's not reinforced. It's not rated for anything on the road. It's something that you would use with your golf cart. Now, with that being said, it is a beefy 2-inch receiver. You can put in standard 2-inch items such as toe linkages and other hitches like this, like other drop hitches. But just remember that the golf cart, the seat is mounted to the frame here, and then it's extended out to here. And there, when you step on this, it's able to support it, the weight of a person, and it's designed that way. But when you keep extending it out further, let me put this in, When we extend this out, this is even further away from the golf cart than where you would put your feet. So this acts as a lever, and it says on there what the tongue weight, what it's rated for. I don't remember off the top of my head. I probably wouldn't put more than 100 pounds, just in fear of really bending the footstep here, whatever you call it. But this is great for pulling around yard equipment, such as like a small trailer, or if you're renting an aerator, like a pull-behind aerator, or a seeder, or a dethatcher. It's fantastic for that. And adding something like a cargo carrier too. And once again, just like I was saying, the seat is mounted back here, and the further you go out, the bigger the handle that this wants to pull down on this footrest. So this is really something I put up in front of the golf cart, but this would be great if you wanted to mount or add a little extra capacity for cargo, such as a very small cooler. I would not put a very big cooler on here, but stuff like boogie boards and towels, extra clothing like a beach bag, stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm using this for, but stuff like that is just fantastic for an attachment like this. And it just disconnects, and I will explain later that I have another hitch up in the front of the golf cart. That's where you can start loading this thing up more with a heavier cooler, say even a small generator, or any other equipment that you want. But stuff like this, it's very handy to have that hitch in the back. And I know you could tow a small trailer, or even they make golf cart trailers with extra seats on them to pull people, and they're balanced properly so it won't hurt your golf cart. But it's a fantastic upgrade, especially if you buy something like this. This was, I think, $40 from Harbor Freight with coupons and just a promotion they had going on. But that saves a lot of room on the golf cart, especially when you have 4 people, 4 adults run around VIR, and you want to throw, I think we had, like 4 camping chairs instead of 2 people holding on to 2 chairs in the rear, or 1 chair per person. You can just throw them on here and be on your way. All right, and now the headlights. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with this, but I believe it was a Magix LED headlight kit, and I definitely suggest that you do LEDs for a gas golf cart, because you have the 1 battery, whereas an electric one you have, I think, like 6 batteries. The LEDs just have less draw, and you have less possibility of draining the battery and having some other source of power that you need to get the cart going so you can make it back home. So I definitely suggest doing LEDs. Plus, they are incredibly bright. So just out in front of the driveway, the lights that you're seeing are just street lights. And those are the LED headlights. And there's no high beam or low beam. I just want to say that they are pretty much high beams all the time. Even those little reflections, it's 5 LEDs per headlight, and they are high output. And there's no joking around with those. But along with the headlights, there are your LED tail lights, which are also quite bright as well, especially at night. And you do have your, let me see if I can get this in the picture. You do have your blinker control. So you have your you're turning left, you're turning right, and then your horn button's on the end. I'm not going to push that because it's nighttime in a neighborhood. It is a very loud horn. People will definitely hear you. And they actually even give you, sorry about this, they even give you an accessory line on the wire loom so that you can add something to it, like a light bar. That's something I've considered in the future, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And then, so, good Lord. So that blue LED light is on when you turn the headlights on. And then, let me see. That's terrible lighting, I'm sorry. But there's another switch that I've mounted here as well that is for your hazards. And those are LED bulbs as well. So those are your hazards. Those would also be your turn signals. And this is what the rear looks like as well. This is what it looks like when you're turning left, at least when you're in the driver's seat. And the same thing when you're turning right. So all in all, adding the LED headlights has been a great upgrade, especially when you're driving around in a populated area, such as like when you go to the VIR racetrack, you need to be seen with other cars. And down at the beach in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, they let you drive golf carts around, but you need to have proper lights. Oh, and this would be the pad here. When you step on it, the taillights light up. Let's see if I can show you the reflection. Yeah. So even if you have your headlights on, just like a car, when you step on the brake, the rear taillights get brighter to signal people that you're slowing down or that you're braking. So it's just like a car. And a tip with this, this pad that says brake written across it is supposed to be mounted horizontally, and that's kind of what it's designed for. But if you mount it horizontally, when you go to push your foot and you're mushing on the parking brake, you're pushing and kind of pulling on this rubber, and it will eventually tear and kind of rip. So I mounted it vertical off to the side where you would, when you're transitioning from the gas pedal to the brake pedal, you have a bigger contact with your foot hitting this pad when you're braking, and then when someone goes to push the parking brake, you're not mushing the rubber up and tearing it over time. So that's a tip. That'll save you. I think you can get replacements one of these for $15 to $20, but mounting it this way will just make it last that much longer. And one last thing, these are the cup holders. I'm doing this at night for the lighting purposes, or the LED headlight purpose, but you can see these better in the previous videos. These are made by a company called Steeling. They're a small little company. They don't make much, but they make a good product nonetheless. These are just universal cup holders. You've got two here, and then a little zipper bag back here for valuables, just phone or wallet if you're traveling. And you can mount these on either side. They come as a pair, and they just Velcro on, so no drilling or rivets. But the reason I like these a lot better than the armrest that you would have to, drill through your frame and then screw on. They have a wood base on them that the screws go into, and over time that will rot, deteriorate, and I just really don't want to deal with that. I think that's a little cheap, especially on how well everything else is built. I don't like the idea of introducing wood, but also they're a big giant fat armrest on here, and they are much wider than this 1-inch square tubing. When somebody goes to push their arm on it, it's going to want to eventually twist and break off. So that's why I've gone with these types of cup holders. There's a better picture of it. With these types of cup holders, they're just more low profile. They're not going to get as banged up. They're not going to deteriorate. They're cheap. I think the pair costs, like $20. But to me, that's a better option than those armrests. Especially those armrests can get pretty expensive, and they come in different colors. And a lot of people like to get them in a different color other than white. But, they're going to get sun-soaked, and it's going to be way too hot to touch, and it's not going to be pleasant. This is something that just is not going to heat up like vinyl will. Even the white gets a little hot when we're out in the sun, but it's definitely bearable compared to black vinyl where it just burned the bottom of your legs, and that's not fun. But that will wrap up the rear seat, the hitch, the cup holders, and the LED lights. And then if you guys are interested in doing something like this, look at Harbor Freight. You can find them on sale. It's a great add-on for a light cargo load, and I will show you this on the front of the golf cart when I do the next video on the winch and the front hitch receiver. That's a lot more custom work, and that's really where I like to put this rather than the rear. Have a good one.